I thought we'd hit peak Project Fear when they told us we'd run out of sandwiches following Brexit, but now Brexit planners are suggesting that a no-deal Brexit might result in martial law being imposed in Britain. Whitehall officials have been gaming a state of emergency and the introduction of martial law, yes, martial law in the UK in the event of a no-deal Brexit. And this is no accident, by the way. This is the next step, the natural next step for Project Fear, trying to scare politicians into supporting Theresa May's Brexit withdrawal agreement. The Times reports that the Mandarins, which is a name given to people who work in Whitehall, don't ask me why, are looking at how to use powers that are granted to them within the Civil Contingencies Act of 2004 to try and stop civil disobedience occurring as a result of the UK leaving the European Union on March 29th without a deal, as if somehow the UK is about to descend into unmitigated chaos if we leave this European project without a deal. You know, the thing that we voted on almost 3 years ago. Now, I'm shocked by the depths of our government, the depths that they will go to push these fear-mongering lies to the British people and, of course, to the people in Parliament, who they're simply trying to win over so that they can get some kind of withdrawal deal with the EU. That's all this is about, by the way. This is all this is about. I consider it highly unlikely that Whitehall plans were accidentally made known to the press. The Whitehall is plotting this potential scenario where martial law is brought into the UK and that was released to the public by accident. I don't think so. This information has been conveniently leaked into the public domain, and now both politicians and members of the public are aware that the government might seriously consider imposing martial law on the UK, a civilized first world country, if we leave the EU without a deal. This is... oh, it's crazy. And it's funny because I thought I'd heard Theresa May claiming that no deal was better than a bad deal. Do you remember that? Do you remember when Theresa May said that? Because she said it a million times, but this doesn't really ring true anymore, does it? Because May and her government, or at least May and her closest allies, because she can't count on most people in her government, are doing all they can to push any deal through Parliament. Any deal that they can get with enough support, they'll go for it. So as long as she gets the vote, she'll go for it, meaning that she's willing to scaremonger about no deal relentlessly. It's also been reported that May secretly told cabinet ministers that she will not allow the UK to leave the EU without a deal, and that the only reason she refuses to rule it out in public is so she can use it as a bargaining tool with the EU. Hardly effective if the cabinet keeps leaking things all over the place. So let's say we do leave without a deal on March 29th. I don't for a moment believe that actually that's going to happen, but let's for a moment say that we do leave without a deal. And let's say they implement martial law in Britain. Here's what it would be like. So first of all, it would mean all public rallies and protests would be seriously limited. Probably none would be allowed to happen. There could be curfews, property could be confiscated, and there could even be bans on travel. So total authoritarian state. The army could be deployed if there's any signs of civil disobedience. Now consider it the natural progression from our already closely monitored Big Brother state right now. We go from, you know, just being monitored for the mean jokes that you write on the internet to actually the possibility of being grabbed on the street and thrown in jail if you hold up a placard. Amazing. But here's the thing, if we leave without a deal, the only people protesting will be the ones who are desperately trying to stop Brexit and ignore the will of the people. So are the government therefore suggesting that the Remainiacs are going to go full-on crazy and start protesting and screaming and acting like extremists or even terrorists all over the place? Because if they're talking about martial law, if they're talking about rounding people up on the streets for protesting, in the event of no deal, the only people who will be protesting are the people who don't want no deal. That means the Remainiacs are a threat, according to our own government. Oh, it's amazing. The only clear thing at this point, after being so confused by all of this, the only clear thing is that the government is so desperate to get a Brexit deal through the Commons on Tuesday, the 29th of January, that they're willing to pull out all the stops to terrify us. Now, I guess we just have to wait and see if it works. We're not funded by the government, we don't have big sponsors, and we certainly don't have massive donors. If you'd like to help support our work, please go to rebeldonations.com/thebuck.